Sonic Chronicles is known for having one of the worst soundtracks in the entire series, but is it as bad as people say it is? Well, today we're going to sit down and listen to all 25 tracks from Sonic Chronicles The Dark Brotherhood and rank them in either ew, fine, I guess, study playlist, earworm, or my son, whose future is ruined unless you subscribe right now. Please subscribe, he's all I have left. First off, we have the opening theme song, because that counts as a track. So, shockingly enough, I'm going to put this one at study playlist. It's actually not bad at all. I actually like the riff, especially once the song actually gets going, and how it's like, it has this like counter melody thing going on. Like it sounds really good. If you look at it with the visuals, yeah, it's just laughable, but listening to the music itself, it kind of works. So right after that bombastic opening, we have the main theme, which is a complete 180 from what we heard before. I'm not even exaggerating. When I first heard it, it literally reminded me of like a Flash game. Like I thought I was playing that Sonic Advance Flash game that used to be on. You know the one I'm talking about. Anyway, I'm gonna put it at fine, I guess. I don't want to put it in study playlist because the drone melody is kind of like overbearing. It kind of gets monotonous after a while. But it's like, I like the chord progression. I do like the beat. But the biggest thing wrong with this, and this is probably gonna go with a majority of these songs, is the instrumentation. I don't know what happened. I tried looking up to see if there was any development news about what happened with the soundtrack, but this feels incomplete. Like the instrument is chiptune, but it's in like the worst way. Like the instruments itself feel almost like it's coming from a tin can sometimes. It's not because of the 3DS, because there's plenty of other songs on here that sound full and vibrant, but it's really because most of the songs here have these staccato instruments that sound from a tin can, that most of it sounds like it's a Flash game rather than a fully fledged Sonic game made by BioWare. I'm getting this point out now because most of these songs have this problem. And if I say that with every song, it's going to get drowning out. But I will put out the ones where it's especially bad. So next up, we have Green Hill Zone, which is the first level that you play in the game. And it's fine. It's like the definition of fine, I guess. It's like, it doesn't go down here. Actually, it kind of does. Why am I capping? For one, if you're gonna use that instrumentation, I would expect for you to at least use the higher register, because the way that it sounds now, it just sounds very dull and boring. On top of that, like the melodies and harmony, it's just not interesting at all. Like I feel absolutely nothing. And then right after that, we have Central City, which is worse, because if this makes me feel nothing, this makes me actively hate it. It's like, at first, it's fine. First of all, it's just Diamond Dust Act 1 from Sonic 3D Blast, just the remix version. Everything's staccato, and it's like, it's fine at first. I was gonna give it like a fine, I guess. I wouldn't exactly put it on my playlist because I could just listen to the original. Until it got to the second part. Is it just me, or does it feel like that bass line is like weirdly out of tune? Also, like in the first part, there's like this weird undertone that is like, it's out of tune. It feels like you're playing a piano that's out of tune. That's what it feels like. So right after this, we have Mystic Ruins, which in this game is kind of like a poison jungle type level. This one's fine. Like, I wouldn't say it's good as the main theme, if that's saying much, but I think it's okay. Like, music-wise, this is definitely one of the more tolerable tracks that I've listened to. Like, I do like that there's an attempt to kind of have a thematic motif in it. Out of all the tracks I've listened to so far, this is definitely kind of like a breath of fresh air, so to speak, because things are actually long and connected, which I do appreciate that. The fast 16th note run in like the B section is kind of, it's whatever. Like, I really don't think it necessarily fits. I think the reason why I wouldn't necessarily put it on the playlist is simply because I don't think this fits as a jungle or a poison theme. This seems more like, if this was like an industrial complex kind of thing, or maybe like a factory or something, I think it would go on study playlist generally. But based on the level it's a part of and just some other little things like that 16 note run, which was like yeah, I really didn't like that. So that's why it's going in fine, I guess. Now, I can say that I'm kind of worried. Being a fifth through this playlist, it's going to be worried because I'm hoping things get better. I really do. Lucky, I think things are looking up because next we got Blue Ridge Zone, which is a unique level in this game. And I will put this on study playlist. I know that it's based off of Diamond Dust Act 1, the Saturn version from Sonic 3D Blast. Side note, why do they like Diamond Dust Zone so much? But besides that, I think it was executed pretty well. Everything kind of flows because it's a nice snow level. It kind of has those like motifs that you expect from winter stages. Also having a different instrument that kind of fits with the theme. It just, I don't know, it sounds really pleasant. I actually don't mind listening to this one. And looks like we're keeping the trend going with Metropolis, though, which is Eggman's base in this game. And honestly, I think I want to put it in Earworm, if I'm being honest with you. If I'm not mistaken, this is based off of Panic Puppet Zone from the Saturn version of 3D Blast. We really like 3D Blast in this game, I guess. Honestly, I just think it's just a really, really solid track. Like, I can remember the theme just from listening to it. So already, that's a start. But I think it gives that really great industrial feel well. And I think the instrumentation, in this case, works in its favor. Although it does get points off because, like, for some reason, most of the bass is heavily leaned on the left side than the right. Like, there's this weird buzzing that's on the left side as opposed to the right side, which doesn't have it at all, but you also can't hear the bass on the right side. And it's not just the playlist that I'm using. I listen to like one or two other YouTube videos, and they all have that same issue. It's really weird. But other than that, yeah, I generally would call this a good track. Not even good for Sonic Chronicles standards. I just think it's actually a good track. All right, so next up we have Angel Island, which is where story and stuff happens in the game. Ooh, I'm gonna have to put this in fine, I guess, but it's a high fine, I guess. First off, I don't know what it is about this portion of songs, but like there's weird panning issues. Like this time, like the drums were like going back and forth between the left and right, almost as if it was like a metronome going back and forth. It was really weird. That aside, I don't think the song itself really fits. First off, it's based off a Chaos Collision or Collision Chaos from a Sonic CD, which props, it's a different game that they're borrowing from. And I do think that the remix is fine enough, but I just don't think it really fits that well into the stage itself. As much as I do think it's a solid track, the fact that it doesn't really fit, it just feels like they got a remix just for the sake of having a remix. That's why I'm not gonna move it any further than there. It's a high fine, I guess, but it's a fine, I guess, nonetheless. All right, so at this point in the story, this is when the main bad guys, the Echidna tribe, or whatever, takes the Master Emerald, takes it into space. And because the Master Emerald's on Angel Island, it falls, and it falls right on Eggman's base, but Metropolis. So because Metropolis, ground zero. And it's very sad and devastating, okay? Cool, yeah, we're on the same page. Awesome, cool. This is the worst track in the game so far. First off, this is not even relevant to the record itself, but this song is based off a Tidal Tempest from Sonic CD, so I guess we're in the Sonic CD portion of the game now. But that aside, it's awful because it's like dissonant and dystonal in like the worst ways. It starts off fine, I guess, like it gives off this kind of mysterious, desolate feel, and it was cool at first. But then it went on with the rest of the song, and it's honestly awful. When it does that da 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 da, it's so bad. It's so bad. It repulsed me. It actually repulses me. I don't know. You're hearing it in the background right now. You tell me, is this the worst track in the game? I think it is. But we're still on Earth. Because at this point, this is when Sonic and friends get to the spaceship and they go into space, leaving Eggman behind on Earth or whatever. So now they're in space and they're doing space stuff. So now let's get on to the different things that you can do in space. So starting off, we have the Kron Colony, which is made up of, and I should be correct with this, it's made up with a bunch of rock people, as well as like the exiled Echidna, who's going to help us along the way. The theme is fine. I think it's not as good as the Angel Island theme, but it's fine, I guess. At this point, we're back to Sonic 3D Blast. This is like Volcano Valley Act 1, I believe. And it's like, I like it. Like, it has a nice motif to it. The only reason that I really want to keep it here is simply because it doesn't really go much of anywhere good. It's like, it does go somewhere. I'm not gonna pretend like it stays in there. That motif is present and do some interesting things with it. The problem is the things that are interesting with it kind of goes away from this very earthy kind of feel that this track gives. It becomes more like a volcano almost. It doesn't quite hit that mark of like reaching it to the point where it's like, yeah, I think I put this on the playlist. I think it's just missing a little bit of that something. Not to mention the drums in that is also really weak. It does the syncopated thing and it just, it doesn't work. I think if they just didn't build up on that, it would have been fine. I probably would have put it on the playlist. But they did it and I hate it, so it's there. Oh boy. All right, we're 10 tracks in. And I knew this was made of like remixes and all that, but it's like, it's been non-stop remix after remix. I've honestly been waiting to hear something original. I hope I can hear something original soon so I can not have the original tracks in the back of my mind. Alright, so next up is the Kron Colony. Music-wise, I don't want to put it in study playlist. Like, this is really fine, I guess. It is definitely better than the main theme. I think it might be better than Kron's theme. Not as good as Angel Island in my opinion. First off, I think this is Quartz Quadrant from Sonic CD. Looks like I'm not getting my wish for no remixes anytime soon. That aside, I do like the kind of spacey feel that it gives off. It's like this space mysterious feel, which is good because the Kron Colony is based off of, I guess, slug people who eat energy. So it's like, it kind of makes sense, I guess. I can't necessarily think of any ways I could make it better, but I think the reason why is just because this part is when the instrumentation really hinders it, because the horns that they use, I'm gonna call it a horn, it's really more of a synth, but the horn they use is to make that long sound that they make, just kind of clashes. Like, it gets to the point where more often than not it just comes off as noise rather than harmonic accompaniment, if that makes sense. And honestly, the same kind of goes for the Zoah Colony. I think it's a little bit better than the Kron Colony, but it kind of has the same problems. Like, some of the droning kind of sounds like noise after a while, but I do like some of the melodic stuff that they do just a bit better. And it does kind of fit with the whole theme of them being like robot men, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, the more I think about it, I think it's pretty well done for being Metallic Madness from Sonic CD, the US version. So that's another point right there. Anyway, up next is Voxai Colony Beta, which is filled with the jellyfish people. And honestly, I kind of want to put it in silver tier. It's the only track I can see that, as far as I'm aware, isn't a copy of any other previous track. And it's one of the best ones. It absolutely fits this whole theme of being like space jellyfish that can communicate with mind reading, and it's like a hive mind kind of thing. It's really good and spooky in all like the right ways. Like, it's honestly a bop. And while not as good, I do think Voxai Colony Alpha is still pretty good. I think I'd put it in the study playlist area. For one, most of the song is just drum beats. It doesn't use any of the instruments, so take that for what you will. On top of that, it does this kind of thing with the dissonance that, unlike all of these other Garbo tracks down here, it actually plays off really well in a way that builds tension, not just sound bad. It's honestly kind of shocking that this one's also the original track, and it's also pretty good. Too bad right after that we have Knock Trade, which is the biggest piece of trash I've ever listened to in my life. I'm not kidding, it's so bad. Like, first of all, it's Big Arms from Sonic 3. I'm losing my voice. I can feel my voice leaving my body. So I'm trying to wrap this up before it's completely gone. Like, where do I even begin? First off, it's based off of Big Arms from a Sonic 3. And like, as soon as I heard that, my visceral reaction was to throw it in there. But I had to stop because I'm not basing it off of how it butchers the original soundtrack, I want to play it on its own merit. Too bad by its own merit, it's still trash. Because it starts off with like these kind of random notes, but then it kind of gets this kind of fast paced. It doesn't work for this stage. It's supposed to be the final stage. It's supposed to make you feel some type of dread. And all it makes me feel is like depression. And like the shit gets so much worse because like right after that it does the da 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 da, but they're like in two different keys and it sounds absolutely awful. Like it's bad. It is, I will be genuinely shocked if there's a track worse than this. This one's just so bad. But with that, we can say that we're finally done with all of the stage tracks in the game. And yeah, most of it's kind of trash. But there are some really good ones. I think there are some nice little diamonds in the rough in this. But we're not quite done yet. We still have some of the other themes we gotta work on. We're gonna start with all the various battle themes. Actually, looking at it, all that's left is battle themes. I mean, whatever makes my job easier. Cool. Are you kidding me? Battle theme number 1 is just Title Tempest Past, but again, and it pisses me off because it's better than the other one. Like, yeah, this one's a bit more bombastic. I would actually put this at a... okay, I'm not that crazy. We'll put it in steady playlist around here. Because it's just, it's good. The instrumentation's better. It has a lot more... It has a bit more of that dread. It has a little more depth to it. It's just... Why? My voice is tapping out. My voice doesn't want to hear this anymore. What's worse is that the second battle track almost drove me insane because I thought it was going to be Title Tempest again, but it's not. It uses the same chord progression, but it's not quite that. And again, this is pretty good. I would put it, yeah, I think I'd put it in low study playlist. The only reason why I wouldn't really put it up here is because it has this point where it kind of dips in energy, and for a battle theme, you kind of don't want to do that. It reminds me a bit of Stardust Speedway Bad, if that makes any type of sense, the US version. And number 3, also pretty good. I kind of put it in the top, and like kind of right here instead of playlist. Again, it's kind of an original piece from what I can see, and it sort of reminds me of, it is going to be a weird comparison, but Engine's theme from Crash Bandicoot 3, Warped. Now, I don't think that this was intentional. I think that's just my mind making weird connections. But overall, I just think the track is pretty good. I don't know what else to say, dude. I'm trying to save my voice. And honestly, battle number 4 doesn't really disappoint. I think it's not as good as Battle Theme 1, but it's better than 2. Again, these battle themes have been really solid. They give like the right amount of tension and conflict in the theme while also being kind of catchy. It doesn't necessarily get in the way. Like, it's good. They're generally really good so far. Now, I will say that as we kind of get into the last 6 tracks, that it is interesting that the songs have gotten significantly better. And that kind of makes me kind of happy. I hope that this keeps going all the way to the end. We got 6 more to go, so let's go ahead and power through. Anyway, up next is the General Mini Boss theme, which I think goes in Earworm. To be honest, this one's actually pretty good. If I'm being completely honest, this would probably go to silver if it wasn't for the fact that it sounds so compressed. Compressed is the word I was looking for. But yeah, everything sounds kind of like smushed together into where it can't be super full. But I think like the melodies in this, the drum beat, the fact that it like has that kind of, yeah, let's go, we're gonna get it kind of thing. Like it sounds really, really good. And then we have like the boss battle themes, which is based off of Panic Puppet Act 2 from what I can be able to see. But unlike all these other imitations, this one's actually also pretty good. I think it gives like a dread to let you know that this is actually kind of serious, while also still giving that kind of funky, good feeling vibe to it. I honestly think that it deserves its spot in Earworm. So next we got Impeder X. He has 2 themes, one when he's a mini boss and one for his final battle. The mini boss theme is honestly kind of fine. It's kind of a worse version of the mini boss theme. I know it's based off of something. I'm not entirely sure, if I'm being honest with you. I want to say Palm Tree Panic, bad, but I'm not entirely sure. I think it's on the cups, but I just think it sounds a little too noisy for me. But then right after that, we have Impeder X Final Boss, which is honestly really, really good. First of all, the instrumentation is actually full. Like, what? Everything doesn't sound like it's from a tin can. Everything sounds like has some punch to it. The actual melodies and stuff is alright, which is why I don't think it's the best track in the game. But it's just the fact that everything sounds full. Everything sounds kind of like this funky tension to it. Which, you know, that's one of the things I like about these kinds of games. Where it's like it has some funky beats and it can actually, you know, bob your head around, but you can actually feel the tension. Like, this is a do or die moment. It's just, ugh, I didn't mean to burp there. But yeah, man, it's an amazing track. I think it's absolutely worth the silver tier. Then after that, you have the song that plays whenever you win a battle, which is honestly, it's an earworm. It's honestly really, really good. I almost want to put it in silver, but those first 5 seconds are absolutely awful. So I think I'm just gonna put it in earworm because it's a nice feel-good track to let you celebrate the fact that you won a battle, any battle, really. And then last but certainly not least, we have the theme that plays whenever you lose a battle, which honestly, it's up there. It's honestly up there. It's a sleeper hit. Like, at first it sounded like nothing, but then as you listen to it more and more, it really unfolds to this full kind of like I want to say orchestrated because that's what's coming in my mouth right now. It's amazing, dude. It's really like the slow chord progression, the low register, that droning synth while adding some stuff on top of it. It just, I don't know, that's just, when you're making a Lost theme, those are things that I look for, and it has it in spades and so much more. So yeah, as you can see, this is all the Sonic Chronicles music ranked that I could find. And honestly, it's a bit better than I thought it would be. I'm not gonna cap. I really thought a lot of this was gonna be ill or fun, I guess. But to my surprise, there's a bit more hits than misses here. The instrumentation and the fact that it's compressed really holds this back. And a lot of it being remixes doesn't really help either. But the tracks that are like actually original are pretty good. The only one that I say isn't good is the main theme. The main theme is very, very underwhelming. It just goes to show you that when you try things for yourself, you realize that things not nearly as bad as you thought. At the very least, I found a couple more songs to add to my playlist. So that's pretty neat. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the Sonic Chronicles soundtrack. What did you guys think? What's your favorite track? What's your least favorite track? What did you think about the game? Get in the comments below. Let me know what you thought. Also, liking and subscribing and all that good stuff does help the channel out a lot. If you want more videos, I can recommend this Freedom Planet 1 tier list that I did. It was actually pretty fun. I highly recommend it. Or you can look at me win an entire debate using Sonic Chronicles. I'm not kidding. I actually did that. You can check it out right here. Unless you think I'm a liar, which I don't know why you would think that. That's actually pretty hurtful.